The Nation Speaks, the Roundtable Listen, Tuesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. Join the conversation that matter the most, live, unfiltered, unapologetic, with local voices and international minds. The Roundtable dive deep into today's toughest questions in society, politics, culture. Nothing is off limits. Your voice, your questions, your platform. Live on Wiz TV, featuring top panelists, Mr. Samuel Abu, Mr. Hamed Fofana, Mr. Cyrus Gray, Mr. Jai Blamo, and your host, William McGill. Heated debate, eye-opening truths, and real impact. Tune in to the Roundtable every Tuesday and Thursday, only on Wiz TV Live. The Roundtable, where every voice matters.
Welcome, this is DN News Liberia, and we coming to you live from the Capitol building, where a group of Liberian women have come in solidarity with President Joseph Liman Boakai to end FGM and other harmful practices in Liberia. That's female genital mutilation. As you know, quite recently at the United Nations General Assembly, President Joseph Liman Boakai announced that his government is going to ensure that harmful practices against women are abolished in the country, and that was actualized upon his return to the country, where he sent a bill to bring a complete halt to female genital mutilation in the country. And so since then, that bill has been before the legislature, and these women here have come in solidarity with President Joseph Liman Boakai, calling for the abolishment of female genital mutilation and other harmful practices. As you know, the Liberia for a long time have practiced the solid and plural societies, have been teaching young girls and young men about tradition, but it is being widely reported, especially by individuals or young girls who've gone through the practice of the solid society. They've said that and at those traditional schools, women catering are caught up, and some way, somehow, some of them believe that reduces sexual appetite of those women. And also, other accounts say it is intended to train them how to grow up as young girls in the country. But these women, along with President Joseph Boakai and other women, have been campaigning for the end of those things, of those practices. And there are some concern that if a girl decides to go to the Sunday society, she should agree maybe at the age of 18 years of age to go to the Sunday society. There are different views or diverse views on this entire thing here. The Speaker of the House of Representatives is himself came here to receive the women. So the speaker is here to receive this petition. The speaker is here to receive. No, you get that's really savage.
No, we get space now. Let him go read it. Can we have it quiet?
Concerned citizens, women's rights organizations, traditional women reformers, youth groups, civil society organizations, health workers, legal practitioners, and human rights advocates respectfully submit this petition calling for the urgent passage of the Women and Girls Protection Act of 2025, referred to herein as the bill. Women and girls in Liberia remain among the most vulnerable populations due to the deeply rooted gender inequalities and the persistence of harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation, early and child marriage, child trafficking, and other forms of exploitation continue to undermine their health, safety, and fundamental rights. These practices are often reinforced by cultural norms, poverty, and limited access to education and protection services, leaving many women and girls exposed to lifelong physical, psychological, and socio-economic harm. Women and girls in Liberia face significant health risks for female genital mutilation and deeply harmful traditional practices with far-reaching implications for both individual and national development, according to FGM Research Initiative. Approximately 38.2% to 44.4% of Liberian women aged 15 to 49 have undergone FGM, with much higher prevalence rate in rural areas, over 50%, particularly in Nimba, Lofa, Bassa, Riverside, Bapelu, Monserrado, Magibi, Grand Cape Mount, Bomi, Wang, Grand Judah, among others. FGM can lead to severe immediate complications such as bleeding, infection, trauma, and even death. Mr. Speaker, it also has a long-term health consequences, including chronic pain, obstetric complications, and an increased rates of maternal and infant mortality. These health burdens not only undermine the physical and mental well-being of women, but also strain Liberia's health system, reduce women economic productivity, and hinder broader national development goals. While the Sunday Society is one of Liberia's most enduring traditional institutions, certain practices associated with it, such as female genital mutilation, pose serious health risks and violate the rights of women and girls. It is both possible and urgent to preserve the positive cultural, educational, and social aspect of the Sunday Society while eliminating harmful practices. Such reform will safeguard the well-being of women and girls, strengthen communities, and ensure that Liberian traditions evolve in line with human rights standards. This bill is essential for protecting the well-being, dignity, bodily integrity, and constitutional rights of women and girls across Liberia. The Constitution
but that will not help the person to grow. The more you allow them to engage, the more you prepare them for bigger responsibilities. So he will continue after I have paid attention to a few issues. And the first one we want to talk about, welcome Chief. I know he will give you the detail of that. But as a government We are concerned about the frequent wave of fire outbreaks in the country and the tragic manner in which some of our citizens are being laid to succumb to death as a result of those outbreaks are becoming concerned with the government. We will take some time of reflection and see what more we can do, probably to have real emphasis on prevention than what we do to stop the fire when it's taking place. The Shara community has a colleague in Dupolo. We just witnessed the entire family was crushed to death. A fire outbreak. You know, the fire service, neighbors, and others made efforts to save the lives of the individuals who were involved without success. As though that was not sufficient, on Sunday, we were told, please, let's have some order in the place. As though it was not sufficient on Sunday, we were told that there was another fire outbreak at the facilities of the Star Center. We saw a statement from the company commending your men for your quick intervention. And we think that's what we want to hear more about our fire service, that your work will be acknowledged. But the bigger picture is the extent to which these outbreaks are occurring is of concern to the government. And we want to extend condolences to the families of the 5 persons who died from Dupolo fire. It is our prayer that God will receive their souls and console the grieving family members. I'm sure the fire service chief will talk more about that in council. Another issue of concern to the government is the increasing wave of
Liberia. You see that executive mansion? I will turn into a 5-star hotel. I don't need to be in such an elaborate infrastructure. It's been proven that you can run the executive mansion right out of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can run the executive mansion out of a small place. Why do we need a whole Ministry of State just for presidential affairs? And it's a place where different people, all our, look, even me now as CEO with more than 5,000 employees across Africa in multiple countries, I don't really have a special assistant. My laptop is it. I have different departments, different heads of different sections, and they work. Why do we need a president to have such elaborate infrastructure? The sooner we review this, the better the budget will begin to work for us and for the people. And if that doesn't happen, we're always going to have this situation. And that's why we're saying, ladies and gentlemen of the press, people in Radio Land, that we need to change the governance style of our country by changing the people we give power to. Thank you so much. Getting $200 million from Mittal Steel when the deal is signed. You know the Mittal Steel deal has stalled. It stalled since year before the last, it stalled last year, and it could stall this year, right? So there is no guarantee that that's going to pass, but you reflect it in the budget. And there is something that's going to interest you as I go down. They took this entire inflow of $200 million and they placed it under something called PSRP. So that's where additional spend on education will come from. They took 81 million out of the core budget, the core revenue, to put it under the PSRP. I even have a problem with the definition of what they call PSRP, but I'm just bringing that to you. Then asset recovery. All of this noise about asset recovery, they anticipate getting $10 million for asset recovery, and it's also in this budget. That has raising it up to 10 million. You all know, if you accuse me of stealing, we have to go to court. And the court process takes years. So how are you now projecting that you're going to get $10 million on asset recovery process that just started? Maybe they will sell the $10 million property in 4 years,
I don't know who's going to go there to buy it. That Boyka is building that nobody wants to put it back in the budget. Who knows? I don't know. And maybe some of the other ones that Boyka been stealing to distract. He will fire other people, and he has his own stealing. So I don't know how can a rogue be firing a rogue. But again, this too is Liberia. So we have a situation where $7.5 million is also anticipated. What they've said is that henceforth, if they sign a concession, you will pay 2% upfront on your corporate income tax, right? So that 2% upfront is dependent on signing. And you know these things go through all kinds of things. Just the other day, they brought Oranto. There were a lot of flaws. People started talking about that. They brought another company. There was another company for the road, I think construction. There were a lot of fraud. So all of these, and that one is a loan anyway. But these concessions like Oranto and some of the other people that have all these flaws, you're now saying you anticipate 2% from them, even though it hasn't gone through, but you're reflecting it in the budget. That swears the budget up to 1.2 billion, which clearly is not going to be realized. We have no yardstick to know whether we've realized the budget because we haven't done a budget analysis. The only thing you hear that people say we're calling on the international community to come to our aid will be wondering, is there a National Disaster Management Agency? Why are we giving them money? Bureau of State Enterprises, you have another one called Governance Commission. What do they do? And they take millions of dollars. Governance Commission take more than $3 million. Doing what? Ministry of Information. A few guys that say there and talk nonsense. They don't even understand what they're saying. When you say something critical, they come to the airwaves and just talk nonsense. Nothing they even understand. I don't even think, sometimes when they talk in the speed, even drive from their mouth. I think many times you journalists just carry them some water so they can help themselves. Liberia Institute of Public Administration. Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. That's why I'm dwelling on this ministry, because the reality is, if you look at President Boyka, he has the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, which takes 15 million, and we are not analyze that. Then you have the EPS, which only for Presidential Affairs, which takes another 9 million. That's about $24 million out of the national budget that Boyka alone consumes. We're going to that analysis. Institutions that do not need government funding. Liberia Electricity Corporation, $50 million this year. Why? Everybody here pay current bill. Why LEC, like in many countries you have private power authority that are functioning, that work, and the tariff is even lower than Liberia. Why every year we're pumping millions of dollars into LEC, and guess what? LEC contributes nothing to the national budget. Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, nothing to the national budget. We go into another section of the budget, grounded in the arrest agenda, and I'm quoting here, for inclusive development. This budget reflects a government that listens to its citizens. That's what they are saying. Learns from their lived experiences and leads with purpose. That's what the government is saying. It integrates gender response planning and budgeting to ensure that women, men, and youth are equally considered in every policy and investment. Of Liberia, you see that executive mansion? I will turn into a 5-star hotel. I don't need to be in such an elaborate infrastructure. It's been proven that you can run the executive mansion right out of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can run the executive mansion out of a small place. Why do we need a whole Ministry of State just for presidential affairs? And it's a place where different people, all our need, look, even me now as CEO with more than 5,000 employees across Africa in multiple countries, I don't really have a special assistant. My laptop is it. I have different departments, different heads of different sections, and they work. Why do we need a president to have such elaborate infrastructure? The sooner we review this, the better the budget will begin to work for us and for the people. And if that doesn't happen, we're always going to have this situation. And that's why we're saying, ladies and gentlemen of the press, people in Radio Land, that we need to change the governance style of our country by changing the people we give power to. Thank you so much.
Developing road infrastructure is critical to Africa's economic and social factors. Road plays an essential role in connecting our farmers to markets, our children with their schools,
patients in dire need of healthcare services, the healthcare facilities, and entrepreneurs and businesses to opportunities. Roads not only bind physically, but also serve as economic and political pillars of society. To accelerate Agenda 2016 and FTA, the demand for urgent collective effort can be overstated. I was once talking with a Chinese ambassador, and he said to me, when we started our development, we went to IMF to work on for road funding, and as they saw that funding road began to improve our economy and build up infrastructure, they stopped. That's how critical roads are. Although they play such a critical role in our society, the fact of maintaining and expanding our road network presents many challenges during such times when there is climate change, growing urbanization, and limited financing continue to present new challenges to the resilience and sustainability of our infrastructure. As such, we must move swiftly and smartly. As a matter of fact, this morning, 2 days ago, I was telling the Minister of Finance and the Minister of State, the way we build roads in Africa, and especially in Liberia, you take 6-7 years to build one road. We take 150-mile road, give it to one contractor, 6 months rainfall, you stop. Then they go again, and then the next person comes again. And I told them we have to change it. Don't dig that road to one contractor. If we want to develop fast, we got to change that. The short time we have been able to improve roads, we can see what is happening. The food prices have gone down, access to education, to healthcare. And so, road maintenance is not just important, but even the matter of constructing roads. I'm happy that the Minister of Finance has informed me that we're going to put money into roads. We've got to improve our roads. As far as I'm concerned, we would take almost 3/4 put in the roads, build the roads, open the country. You got to open the economy without roads. For 179 years, the road we built in Asia have been built 50, 75 years ago. So the highlight of the importance of this, pointing to the fact that poorly maintained roads present not only technical challenges, but developmental challenges. I've been to serve with some of my own experiences. I had a friend who was sick, and we sent him to Tapata for treatment.
President of Liberia, you see that executive mansion? I will turn into a 5-star hotel. I don't need to be in such an elaborate infrastructure. It's been proven that you can run the executive mansion right out of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You can run the executive mansion out of a small place. Why do we need a whole Ministry of State just for presidential affairs? And it's a place where different people, all our, look, even me now as CEO with more than 5,000 employees across Africa in multiple countries, I don't really have a special assistant. My laptop is it. I have different departments, different heads of different sections, and they work. Why do we need a president to have such elaborate infrastructure? The sooner we review this, the better the budget will begin to work for us and for the people. And if that doesn't happen, we're always going to have this situation. And that's why we're saying, ladies and gentlemen of the press, people in Radio Land, that we need to change the governance style of our country by changing the people we give power to. Thank you so much.
Construction and maintenance of roads are a national priority. Thank you, Your Excellency, Mr. President, for this enlightened vision and for the trust imposed in the young people of Liberia, of which I represent. Today, a large-scale program has been launched to rehabilitate more than 1,000 kilometers of main and secondary roads. Mr. President, we have incorporated modernization and regional integration into our major corridors. Currently, we are considering as a government the connecting parts of Monrovia to Freetown, Abidjan, and Conakry. We believe that these economic drivers will strengthen governance, transparency, but overall boost our economy. Mr. President, I must acknowledge the support of all of the young people that have served to support me at the National Road Fund of Liberia. Over the course of our service, we were able in the first 6 months to generate $14 billion in 2023. With the new governance structure and the leadership of our board, in 2024, for the very first time, we generated an unprecedented amount of $31 million. That is the highest funds generated by the National Road Fund, and with that, we were able to pay over
I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. I can't stand no more, cause I'm a fool. I cannot go to school, cause no more money. Hey yo, excuse me, Mr. Genevieve. I wanna...
Let me say a pleasant good evening from Liberia and welcome to the round table. Today is Tuesday, that's November 18, 2025.
And I just want to ask you some questions.
My name is William McGill. We like to welcome all of our viewers that are following the program tonight to this great edition of the program. Let me say good evening to you, Mr. Abu, and welcome to this week's presentation of the program.
Good evening, Willem. How are you tonight? I guess Monrovia is still moving still. Any rain in Monrovia today?
Yeah, we had a little downpour of rain, but now I'm not sure it's everywhere because the rain been falling, different places at a different time.
Yeah, it's been going very well for us on our side here on the East Coast. I think the temperature has just been coming low and low. I think they went as far down as 40 degrees. But anyway, that's the time, that's the weather, and that's what we are used to. We're really not going to complain because it doesn't stop us from doing what we need to do. So we're here tonight on Waste TV. My name is Samuel Abu. We're going to give you talk on issues around the country, issues that bother Liberians. We only not to be talking or promoting government, but the problem remains that there are many people who maybe do not understand how government operates. Some of them were in government before, and at the time they were working in government, sometimes things were happening a different way, either just being stalled and dragging and not moving. And today things are looking different, so there will always be a way to criticize. But sometimes during the times they were in government, and there are
also some other group of people who have had no experience in working in government, and all they do is to look at government to operate the way they see or read on the papers or in the books, but it doesn't happen that way. So, but we are here tonight. We'll be discussing some of our trending issues in Monrovia, and I think, William, you have a lineup of new things that we're supposed to be discussing. What are those things, please?
Basically, tonight we will look at a statement coming in from Simeon Freeman. He's spoken today talking about the proposed national budget, and as well as a statement he made when he spoke about the budget, trying to criticize the budget as well. We will look at that statement talking about he could turn the executive mansion into a five-star luxurious hotel to generate revenue for the country. We will also look at the road fund meeting that has been held here in Liberia, but the National Road Fund here in Liberia. So there's an annual general meeting for the national road sector, and it's been held here in Liberia. Today we witnessed President giving an opening speech there. We will also look at that as well, and some of the things that was being said there at the program. Basically, those are the two key issues we are going to be talking about tonight.
Well, those are all beautiful issues that we should be discussing. I did not listen to all of what Mr. Simeon Freeman said, but what caught my mind specifically, he spoke on several issues, assuming that if he were president, which I know he talks out of oblivion, that's not going to happen at this time, maybe not in my generation, and maybe not even the generation of his grandchildren. What is happening here is that he forgets to know that Liberia is not guided by men. Liberia is guided by law. So he has to understand that the executive mansion was built and established for a specific reason, to be the office of the president, the office and residence of the president. If he were the president today, that is where constitutionally we'll have to have a place for him to stay with his family and where he will be protected. But he's talking as if he's talking like a Simeon Freeman, who is bringing in how to call his group that he said he employs 5,000 people. He brings DSTV to Monrovia, and he forgets to know that that is an entity. They don't vote for the people who are working for him. All the people who are working for him, he selects them. He decides who works for him based on his own criteria. But when we talk about the executive mansion and the government, we have people who are elected. We have people who are vouched for, and other people are elected and certified so that they select a group of people to run this country. So I don't think Mr. Simeon Freeman was really talking out of what we feel he should know. He was talking out of ignorance. The executive mansion to be turned into what he calls a five-star hotel is just looking at a building. I don't know whether he has even visited the executive mansion before to see whether it was built to look like a hotel. It wasn't built that way. Minister of State for Presidential Affairs, that's a ministry that guides the president, directs the president, and do the work of the president, So if he says that is it. I know his office in Monrovia is in one zinc shop. I know, because he says he runs a place with 5,000 people. The government is running to satisfy 6,000, almost nearly 6 million people. And he just 5,000. I know because it's 5,000 and his fees is effective. So therefore, I guess his office itself is in one zinc shot in West Point. Why would he not build his office in West Point, where he goes to one of the places to build his office? when the people have labored and spent their taxpayers' money to build, to put up a building in a secured place. Because when you talk about the presidency, it's about security. Not because he goes around Monrovia and go to the nightclubs and stand outside and nobody cares where he is. Put him one place as a common Simeon Freeman and put President Boakai in another place. You know how many people will be around President Boakai, excluding the security? How many people want to see him? But Simeon Freeman, we only know he exists because right now, as things are happening, we do not have a lot of competition that we have other television service providers. So he thinks it's thing. When he's saying other people are not going to be making money, DSTV, when he came, I have not been able to get a total. But the first time it came, DSTV, no poor person, no common person could afford it, you know. No common person could afford it.
I think the least at that time could have been around 75 to 150 for subscription.
Okay, and look at that. Because a few other people are coming in and government is continuing to squeeze his balls, so he comes down and tell us that, I mean, why can't he give the DSTV free to the people? Since he say he want to satisfy the people, why can't he make it free, you know? Because he feels that there are many entities in the government that do not need to be operating, because he feels, look, Simeon Freeman, I don't want to talk to you today, really, because you are talking completely out of ignorance and a non-skull, you know. Understand yourself, please. You know, that when we say non-skull, we're really not saying that we're insulting you. We are saying that, I mean, you don't talk like somebody whose skull is correct, you know. Because if you said, the executive mansion is of no use, you can operate the executive mansion from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Ministry of Foreign Affairs itself is a big entity that you cannot run it as a small consulate. It's not a consulate. You have to understand that building has so many areas inside there today. But then what are you going to tell us that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs can run the presidency when the presidency itself has a structure bigger than the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you know? So if music operate from there, when President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf operated from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in the beginning, 2005, 2006, or 2006, 7 onwards, when she operated from there, you know how much inconvenience it caused? When you get up today, you tell us we must operate an office. There is no need for the Minister of State and Presidential Affairs. He has to understand something. He has to understand something. That this government or any other government of Liberia cannot operate that way. He cannot be working and thinking that that any government can only be in that place. Why can't he even talk about? Why can't he talk about the Capitol building? The Capitol building, where we have almost 103 representatives that are there, and all of them should have their offices. So are you going to put people in offices where they're going to share, and you don't believe in confidentiality? You don't believe in security of the state and security of the president? It is our responsibility to protect the president in his work, and his life and his physique must be protected. So, Mr. Simeon Freeman, I'm sorry to tell you this. You pass around, you brand your 3 million watch. We understand that, you know. But that is your personal property. The executive mansion is not a one-man property. It is the property for the Liberian government and for the Liberian people. And if you just understand where you think you want to go, I see why you spend your money and it goes in vain and you do not even win one seat in the government, you know, because you really act like you do not understand how government operates. So you have been fooled by what you see and not what you learn, you know. I know it took a long time. I don't know whether it was a dream that you had, that you think you can become a president. It was really a dream. I don't think you worked towards it, because if you want to work towards it, you have to know what is happening in that government. You have to start going to the mansion and see why these offices are all in the mansion. So Suprema is really narrow-minded, you know. Our executive mansion cannot be. Where are the offices? You have traveled in other places, the South Africa where your DSTV originates from, or wherever it originates from. I know you people have a very gigantic office building there, but you only have 5,000 people. So let's look at the government of Liberia that have more than 33,000 people all employed, where they are controlled from. The 5,000 people you're talking about, they are not all in one country. You say they are in countries around the world. And each of those countries, you can just imagine how many big buildings that you people have there. Why can't you turn all those places, even your sleeping place, turn it into a zinc shack? Because you want to save money, because you want to please people. Don't be talking politics when you do not know what it is. Politics is not all about controlling people. It's about providing services for the people. You have to understand that. We have not met before, but the DSTV itself, we need to call on Liberian Telecommunications to see how we can review some of the contracts we have, because the DSTV, you bring it in. At the time you brought in, there was no electricity in the homes. Now there is electricity. The big article, there's a show there that comes on, Big Brother Niger, that comes on. It's the only time that you make money. So you have not been able to even strategize how you can make money after the Big Brother Niger ends. Because when the Big Brother Niger on, everybody wants to subscribe to you. When it is over, people do not even want to come your way. Okay? Because you do not know business. The business you're doing, you don't know it. You can't talk about running a government. It's because you are providing something that is in demand. It's like selling cassava leaf in the market. Every day people eat cassava leaf. Whether 50% of the homes, 20% of the homes, once you got cassava leaf, they will buy it. So you have this DSTV. I think it's about time that government try to review your contract that you have or your concession agreement that you came with to provide these services. You guys do these services and just unscrupulously decide to eat on the common people. You don't know what you are doing. You came with that thing, people couldn't afford it. But it was a time Liberia has to be building up. Where are you coming from today to tell us to go back to J.J. Roberts' time when the executive mansion was operating from Broad Street, in an old Congo building that was sitting on the thing. You carry the Freeman name today. You guys are all the ones that help to frustrate this country. Help to frustrate this country. You look at things, Mr. Freeman, in a very, very little way. Why do you have to say, look, that's an insult to our government. I don't even see people who vote for you. That's an insult. The executive mansion is one of the buildings that we are very proud of in Liberia. It's an iconic building in our country.
Mr. Abu, do you see Mr. Simeon Freeman as a strong force comes 2029? Because he starts to speak.
Don't even as strong there. He's not going to be a force. He can only be a force if he falls under another party where he will not even be recognized as Mr. Nobody. It's only the DSTV who, in fact, he feels that the DSTV makes him popular. No, but you are not the brain behind DSTV. DSTV is DSTV. All the people want to know is the DSTV kind in their homes. They watch the video, they watch the TV and other things. But they don't even know who is the Simeon Freeman. The other day, I saw you on one video. You said you had, $4 million watch, a watch that is worth $4 million now. Yeah, that's good. You're a big guy. But when my time is 5 o'clock, does it make your own 10 o'clock? Does it make the day more than 24 hours on your hand? No. It's still the same 24 hours. We all read the same thing. The $4 million watch you got, does it tell you when it's 3 o'clock? Does it wake you up and say, Simeon, wake up, it's time for you to go to work? Does it talk to you? No. When you pass in the street, who knows how much it costs? Who cares how much that watch costs? You just continue to make people feel that the Liberia is not running. Get yourself out. The 5 million people you see, or 5,000, that's just the population of maybe not even, even Painesville has a population more than 5,000. Those are the people you say work for you around the world. If you go to where your DSTV headquarters is, they must be having some gigantic building there. Look, what attracts people is the things that you do. I don't think you want to go back into contesting. Maybe you just want to sit. I think there is no fence. You want to sit in a muddy hole and be criticizing. You just want to criticize. Our executive mansion, must be turned into 5-star hotel? Simon Freeman, you must be joking. But anyway, talk is free. I heard you say you need a government. You need to change the governance style of our country. Okay, but what you have to do, Mr. Freeman, we are not going to give you the chance. Because even changing the constitution is what determines our governance style. You want us to go back into, when you become president, I know you're going to appoint somebody you call prime minister, because that's the governance style that you want to change into something that do not represent us, or you want to come in with a military coup, with the military style of government. You look at the executive mansion, because nobody talks, oh, we'll turn this into 5-star hotel. 5-star hotel. You think that's just something you talk overnight? We don't do that. Mr. Freeman, you got to be careful. Don't be talking just because you want to talk. You make a lot of statements here. Look at even the road fund people making money. The government is moving. You are the guys who are paying the people in the street to go and demo and protest, because that's not demonstration. You are the ones who pay people to go protest. Sometimes we don't see you giving them money directly, but sometimes what you are doing is that you decide to give them free DSTV services, out of the little profit that you make. These people who are working for you, how much money are you paying them? That's the style that you have to make. The people who are working for your DSTV, are you paying them enough money to sustain it? You don't even pay them more than what the government is paying its workers or its employees. You're not paying them. But you come and just run your mouth, blah, 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 just like a parrot. Mr. Freeman, for that statement you made, but thank God it remained a conditional statement, if I become a president, and that if it's never going to happen. You will never even be a kitchen, if the people have to vote for a kitchen boy in that mansion, you will not take it, you will not get it. If we even have to vote for the kitchen boy in that mansion, Simon Freeman, you cannot win it. I challenge you. How many votes you had? The presidency, you keep running for it. Is it because President Joseph Boakai had broke the ceiling that you see that even you keep running, you become 80 years and still be running? Keep running. Every 2020, it can run. 2033 can run again. Keep running, because they say when you want to know the Christmas is going to be good, it's determined by the night before Christmas. Yeah, you are running a business. You're exploiting the people out of this business here, just because you think it is in demand. Liberians want to see something better, and you are helping to provide the services, and don't think you have a monopoly over that. You don't have a monopoly over it. You did not start it. You are just a service provider and a representative for that particular company in Liberia. You are a service provider. You make it look like you are the one who established DSTV. No, they only know about you, DSTV, because you were able to go there and convince the people. So you came, and out of that money you made out of us, charging $150, $250 for a small DSTV box, and people subscribe to you. Sometimes you don't even show good, You bring it out of that excess money that you made in the beginning is what you want to use against us today. You are one of the bad politicians who got in that country. You are bad, Simon Freeman. You are bad. Because if you came and make excess profit, like somebody come in, when the new US, especially some of us who know you after the war, if someone has brought something like because we couldn't see fish, people were not going fishing, people were not doing anything. When you bring one boni to the market, you can tell the people that $2,000, people will run behind you and stay by it. That's how you got into the market. Okay. Then finally, the excess money you made, when more boni started coming in the market, the price started dropping, you've already made your profit, And I know it is not DSTV that told you to charge to people that much, but you were doing it, Mr. Freeman, turning our executive mansion a building of icon for the president of the Republic of Liberia. It was built specifically for that. Okay, Because if we even listen to you, the next thing you're going to tell us that you want to change the how to call the place, the Capitol building into a welfare center. That's why you would talk, because when little kids talk in the tongue, when they talk, you give them chance. The next thing they will think that they want to say something bad against the leader. So Mr. Freeman should understand that the executive mansion is even when he becomes, may the law forbid, and the God is forbidding it already, that it shall not happen, because you will not even be able to make 3%. Because the election law says if you didn't make 2%, the next time you want to run, maybe you got to run under another party. So this party you got, are they going to contest the election? You'll never produce a presidential candidate except you're going to go under some coalition. That's the only thing. So your presidency representation has already flunked, faded, and completely dissipated. You cannot become a president of Liberia. Stop dreaming. I know the next time you start providing Muppet show, that you yourself will be the Muppet on the DSTV. Because you need to provide some shows, so we'll be watching you, as a Muppet or a comedian.
He spoke a lot about the proposed national budget for 2026. And if I would bring that video when you listen to him, he talk about so many things and so many entities that the government is trying to spend a lot of money that they shouldn't. He lists entities like the NTA, the National Transit Authority, talking about they should be able to generate their own revenue and run all by itself. He talk about the Liberia Electricity Corporation, where they are proposing $50 million into the budget for the LEC. He said it's not necessary because LEC, take current bills from citizens, so they should be able to fund themselves because they raise revenue for themselves. He talked about the Liberia Water and Sewer, and so many entities he listed. Let me just bring this video and then you listen to it before we dive into that.
The only thing you hear the people say, we're calling on the international community to come to our aid, will be wondering, is there a national disaster management agency? Why are we giving them money? Bureau of State Enterprises, you have another one called Governance Commission. What do they do? And they take millions of dollars. Governance Commission take more than $3 million. Doing what? Ministry of Information. A few guys that sit there and talk nonsense. They don't even understand what they're saying. When you say something critical, they come to the airways and just talk nonsense. Nothing they even understand. I don't even think, sometimes when they're talking, they spit, even drive from their mouth. I think many times you journalists just carry them some water so they can help themselves. Liberia Institute of Public Administration. Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs. That's why I'm dwelling on this ministry, because the reality is, if you look at President Bouaka, he has the Ministry of State for Presidential Affairs, which takes $15 million, and we are not analyze that. Then you have the EPS, which only for Presidential Affairs, which takes another $9 million. That's about $24 million out of the national budget that Bouaka alone consumes. We're going to that analysis. Institutions that do not need government funding. Liberia Electricity Corporation, $50 million this year. Why? Everybody here pay current bill. Why LEC, like in many countries, you have private power authority that are functioning, that work, and the tariff is even lower than Liberia. Why every year we're pumping millions of dollars into LEC, and guess what? LEC contributes nothing to the national budget. Liberia Water and Sewer Corporation, nothing to the national budget. We go into another assertion of the budget, grounded in the arrest agenda, and I'm quoting here, for inclusive development. This budget reflects a government that listens to its citizens. That's what they are saying. Learns from their lived experiences and leads with purpose. That's what the government is saying. It integrates gender response planning and budgeting to ensure that women, men, and youth are equally considered in every policy and investment.
So, you listen to him, and
Yeah.
that was his opinion on the proposed budget.
Yes, he talks about the proposed budget. Our government was established by law, and every institution that he's talking about came to existence through the law. So why is he trying to change the law? You know, he acts like he's a very lawless fellow. You know, let's imagine he talks about the the Bureau of State Enterprises. This is a group that should be monitoring state-owned enterprises to ensure that they are doing the right work. Those that are supposed to be making money, that they are remitting some 20% or some percentage of whatever they make into government. The government is still being built. We came from war. It takes us a long time to get back to where we are. You know, the only mistake sometimes is that we assume that we have no problem and we take things from the center. Okay, he said the Liberian Institute of Public Administration. This is an entity. Mr. Simon Freeman, go into your constitution and read it. Go and learn how some of these entities were established by acts of law. You know, you cannot just change it. I mean, if you have other recommendations, you can make these recommendations. We expect that. But when you say the budget, even in America, we got a Security Exchange Commission, which checks on business people, on governmental organizations. Okay, and you are there that people talk spit coming from their mouth, and you got to bring water to give to them. And this, I don't know what's happening to you. Maybe you drank your water before you started talking. Okay, then let's look at all of the entities you are checking. You are naming. These are not entities that just people that President Barker came and he started. If by any reason God favors you, which I know we don't determine what God favors, but for you, we can say that God is not going to favor you and make you president for that country. Because you talk about changing these things. Look, Simon Freeman, you are not the first person who have said that they will change the way government operates, the way governance operates. Every politician in Monrovia talks about that before they take power. But when you get to the executive mansion, you'll see that things are completely different from what you're talking about. Things are completely different. You know, sometimes it will even be you that will be complaining, why do people wear $500 watch? Because you got a $2 million watch. Why do people wear $500 watch? You know, we have to understand that government, when you are outside, you don't see inside. You have always been approaching government as a businessman. You know, apart from those times that you have tried to become a candidate and this and that. Okay. But to be very frank with you, Mr. Freeman, your criticisms do not hold water, they don't hold ground. Okay? You need to apologize to the Liberian people. You need to tell the Liberian people that you didn't mean to say it. And even the one from which that particular statement came from needs to be squashed. You don't need to talk like that. Why would you want to be a president of a country and you denigrate us and feel that we must all go back to live on the farm? We must give no decency to our presidency. Our president must live in zinc shack. When you, as a businessman, you say you have over 5,000 people employed in your entity, not only in Liberia, but you still do not sleep in zinc shack. Why you don't give the DSTV services to people free of charge or for $10? Okay, Liberian Electricity Corporation, you put in your mouth on. If LEC did not exist, how will your services be of use to people? Because LEC is a complementary portion of your services that you provide for people. If there is no LEC, if there is no electricity, you're not going to do it. MTA, everybody that did business, you have to have money to put front. So if you think that MTA is the government's responsibility to provide transport services for the business, Okay, okay. Every city in the United States you go, they have a public transport system. Some of them do sustain themselves, and many of them do get subsidy from government. Why do they get a subsidy? Because they provide services for the most common people, and most of these people are not able to pay for the services 100%. I don't know if you are talking so that government can give you a carte blanche so that you can continue to provide services for people free, so that you'll be collecting money. You guys are the same ones when you provide $10 service, you come to government and tell them we provided $20 service or $50 services. Corrupt people. A man like you look very corrupt. I can see corruption in your face and in your eyes. XYY chromosome, because you just talk. We look at the issues. LEC, yes, you say they should be able to raise their own money. Yes, but how do LEC get the money to generate electricity? There should be something we call the seed money. And where do they have the seed money? They could go out there. But then it is the government that becomes the guarantor. Okay? MTA, the same way, the government becomes the guarantor. Liberian City of Public Administration, do you have any proof that they're not doing their work? They're trained people. They are happy to train people in governance. Middle level managers, directors, they provide training for them. They are working. All these things you're talking, even in your own entity, don't make it look like DSTV, you do not have flaws there. You do. Take the thing from your eyes before you start looking at other places. Because Mr. Simeon Freeman, you really need to apologize to the Liberian people. Where this one came from, you have been talking. We listen to you, the budget. You are the same one. You say Liberian people must be able to do better for themselves. Yes, we do agree. If the salaries are not increased, if the salaries are not there, because matter you're happy to rig the government, you're happy to make things very, very difficult for people. The DSTV, make it free. You even want to be president. You, Simeon Freeman, you become president, you still want DSTV to operate, and you want them to be in competition. Then you start having undue advantage because that's a president company. People want to come there to do all these things for you. Talk like tomorrow you'll be a better person, but you are talking like tomorrow you'll be the worst. You'll be the worst. Let him keep talking. Things are going on, But as much as he cannot tell us that he's going to make DSTV free in Liberia, because he wants the MTA to come provide services free, LEC must provide services free. Before these people go into business, it is the government that have to guarantee them. No international organization there will say because they're LEC. We know LEC can do a survey and tell you how many people, but the people are not working. Government has to do a lot of subsidy. You don't run the government like a business. There is a social service side of it. No, not the profit, because you look at it only from the profit. From profit and loss. The government looks at it from the social services side, that they're supposed to do this for the people. Well, with this said, I look up to the next election to see how many votes you will get, if you even qualify to contest as a president. So what will be the next one? Don't mind Simeon.
Yeah, so basically we will look at the National Rule Fund. There's a meeting for schools of rules funds here across, the West African region. We have people from Sierra Leone, from Africa Coast. The French people say we should call their country like Cote d'Ivoire. And we had President Bouaka there on today, giving an opening speech there of the meeting. And he spoke lengthily about things that are needed to be done in terms of having road projects as quick as possible, and not to go with the regular procedures that they do have for, you know, companies that will come to bid for these projects, because he said that it takes a lot of time to have, you know, just one road construction happening, and he thinks that it should be as fast as possible because road is essential for us as people, and it's something he spoke of. We also listened to the head of the National Road Fund here in Liberia, and she spoke about progress being made, revenue generation as well, and things that are in place in making sure that we can have a visible National Road Fund entity.
The National Road Fund entity should be the one in Liberia here, in our Liberia, to ensure. I think I'm getting a feedback. They do get money or the income, specifically the operational fund, coming from actually, I think, the gasoline that is being sold. Some 2 cents, 3 cents per gallon is remitted to them to have it with. And this money is put together to be able to solve some of the road issues that we already have. We must know, nobody must tell us, because you get up in the morning and drive from Monrovia to Painesville or from Monrovia to Buchanan. We used to take the money 100% from government. Government needed to do it. But now when the road fund entity was established during the time of President Salif, we found out that most of the time the road projects were getting this money and the roads were built. Past governments or other governments, the governments that came before this one, before the current one, maybe they were using that money to do something else. But just as how I did listen to Mr. Josetta Newville who is the head for the National Road Fund office in Liberia, I think she said sometime last year they were able to make like 31 million. 31 million is a good thing. Okay. And she said up to this year they have already made about 14 million. Now, if all of these are added to the, let's say the bridge that we are building, supposed to be 36 or 37 million dollars. If all that one is built, that means we made our own money in our country to be able to sponsor those kind of projects. Okay, and these projects are going on. But this meeting that went on today, actually the African Road Maintenance Fund Association, this is just a group of people, like how we have each country have their own road fund, their road maintenance and other things, and they decided to get together to organize into, they are saying that they are non-political, non-profit organization. They are dedicated to fostering improved road conditions and expanded coverage across the continent. Now, when it comes to that, they are actually eyeing what can we do to have road connectivity between countries. And this group, they call them AMFA, which is ARMFA, AMFA, and they have about 35 countries in Africa that are members, and all of them are from the road maintenance fund in their countries. Liberia did not just establish a road maintenance fund or road, how to call the team, the National Road Fund. They don't just establish it. It's because they saw it in another country, they saw it in other countries, and they found out that it was working. Other governments that came before saw it as a place to be getting money, to be squandering money, withdraw the money and put it into other uses. But if we were using that money for road business, we would have been far with the road development. And what President Boakai said, that road is the beginning of development. Because when you drive on the roads, you see places and you think that you can do some more development, because you will never know that Buchanan is not developed until there is a road to go there. And once there's a road to go there, you see people go there, they start putting on more developments. So he believes that this road maintenance or this road fund should be used adequately to help us in our road stretching. Now, we saw in recent times, look at the road from the Bowater Side Road connecting to Sierra Leone. That road was built by Dawood. I mean, especially from Monroe, from Clay Junction to Bowater side. I think that road was built by Dawood, okay, a Korean company sometime in the 80s. They did finish it. But because of war, lack of adequate use, the road became very bad. And up until today, they have more people. The road is bad. Now, if you stretch on the other side, as I hear, the road from Bowater side on the Sierra Leone side, the Sierra Leoneans have done their side. From there, they have a very clean road coming all the way from Big Bull to the Bowater side. Then we get into the Racket Road, the quota that is almost finishing. Okay. And in these, recently we heard about contracts being signed to make sure that they redo that road. That is our side of the road. We are supposed to do it. So somebody can come, enter from that side, from Sierra Leone, and pass through Liberia, go through Ganta, and go all the way to Ivory Coast. Entering Ivory Coast, there is a contract going on now, which is also part of the road fund that should be helping the people for the construction of the bridge to the Kavala River. I think that's the Kavala River or somewhere in San Pedro, the Ivorian border town with Maryland. It's that San Pedro. The bridge work is going on. Now, if you come to other places, all these roads are being funded every day. Now, this is what we get the money. But what this organization came for, I think this is their 22nd meeting that they are having, and they hold a meeting like every year. The meeting itself, that organizations began in Libreville, Gabon on December 18, 2003. And they say it was intended to promote sustainable and well-performing road maintenance funds for better and safer good condition and increased coverage within the areas of African countries, and to be recognized as a leading enabler of road network improvement in Africa. So when they came together today, there are a few things to look at. This organization has been spread into regional little groups. They have the African Focal Group, they have the West African Focal Group, the Southern African Focal Group, the Central African Focal Group, and the East African Focal Group. So all of them, in their own communities, they make sure that there is road connectivity between the countries, and the road in your own area, you have to be responsible for doing it. Like in America here, they have roads that run from one state and go through maybe about 15 different states. Let's say, for example, the I-95, which is the Interstate 95. When it reaches to your state, you are responsible to make sure that you spread it out, that you work on that road, and you keep it safe for people. So when I-95 is passing through Pennsylvania, it is the PennDOT, which is the Pennsylvania Department of Transport. They are responsible to making sure that it meets traveling standard. It is safer. When it passes through Pennsylvania, it reaches to the border with Delaware. Then Delaware take over. They run it. They make sure on some of these roads we have toll roads and we have toll booths. And they use these toll booths as a means, just like Liberia, where we are collecting. Because if we heard from what was going to happen, when the roads they are going to build from Monrovia going through Clay and other places, they say there are going to be toll booths there. Now, these toll booths are the ones going to be generating money to be able to help to maintain these roads. So if you come through Delaware, the 95 that passing through Delaware, it is the state of Delaware that's supposed to be maintaining it to make sure it meets the standard. So when I move from Pennsylvania and enter Delaware, I must know that I'm in Delaware. I just continue running through. From Delaware, it comes to Maryland. Maryland pass through, goes down to Virginia. Virginia to North Carolina. North Carolina to South Carolina. South Carolina to Atlanta, Georgia. From Georgia, it goes to Florida and go all the way to reach to either Miami or to Orlando. That's a 95 road. And it's an interstate road. So this is the kind of thing this organization comes together to make sure that we have these roads. So they make sure that if you do not have the money, this organization helps you to look for money outside there, to get grants or to get loans from organizations so that you can help to maintain your street. That is why this organization, they came together specifically that they will be able to help one another so that they can keep the roads safe in Africa. Today, I think they say the theme was innovative financing and sustainability of road infrastructure in the face of climate and mobility challenges in Africa. So, climate sometimes makes the roads get degraded. So they are saying they have to start thinking. There should be innovation through this group here, AMFRA, that they will be able to help you through research to see how you can do your work to make sure that you maintain a good standard road. They'll hold this meeting every year. So I think this meeting is being held from yesterday or from today all the way until Friday, from the 18th to the 22nd. That's when they're going to do this thing. And the main interest of this thing is financing, exploring and stabilizing new and sustainable resources. Financing, how can we help you? Because if your budget is very low on roads, sometimes you go into these organizations and they help you. Sometimes with structure, they come in to help. So how is Liberia going to benefit from this? We are going to benefit from it because we know that the agenda of this government, of President Bakai's government, is to have improved roads. And you can see how the roads are stretching to places, farm to market roads. So this organization, Liberia, if we are short of money, the road fund is not making much money, they'll be able to go to them and ask, or that organization will identify other organizations that they can go to so that they will be able to get loans, so that they will be able to help them otherwise. So sustainability and ensuring a resilience and longevity of our infrastructures. So even when you are trying to make the road, they are going to have a group of maybe, let's say, engineers. The engineers will determine that the road here, even though we have completed our side, we want you to make a road that will be able to meet so that all of us can be on the road, so your road cannot spoil, and when our own is still good, how can we maintain good roads in the area? That's what this company is doing. I was very impressed at a statement of Josita Winter, who is the fund manager. I think she believes that with the attachment to this organization, more things can happen for Liberia. Okay, so it's just about, even sometimes the way they are getting the money now from the gasoline that we are buying and other things. We only identify the gasoline because it's something that people cannot escape. If you put any charges on it, you get it, because gasoline is used every day in every moving thing that we have in that country. Gasolines are used. So once you say anybody you buying gas, you have to pay some amount of it towards it. That happens to you. So we are going to benefit greatly from it. So nobody must say we're not going to benefit. The biggest challenge that we have is the control of the funds, because in past governments, they'll go to the fund manager and tell you, oh, please make available by directive of the president, can you make available $2 million for XYZ project, when it's not part of the budget, So this kind of organization, the road fund, must not be used for something that is different from road activities. It could be used to build bridges. It could be used to stretch the roads. It could be used to establish new roads. But the whole thing is about road building, which I hear President Bakai will continue to say that as long as we got roads, development will be at a fast pace. So let's look at this from this angle. Did you hear some other thing I didn't hear?
Basically, so far, those were the key things, and some of the guys from the meeting are, speaking French and different language, which couldn't be interpreted easily. But and then also the finance minister was at the meeting. He spoke about how the government is also focused on building roads and how much they have invested into the National Road Fund for the proposed national budget as well. And he spoke about so many other things just surrounding the same focus of road based on the platform of the arrest agenda, when he was also given the platform to speak today at the opening of that ceremony. So it was just about literally telling members of the organization have focused Liberia is in terms of constructing morals. I think it's something that will also help in terms of we want to focus on agriculture as a country. Is something everyone in this country wants Liberia to focus on, and I think if we are to focus on agriculture and able to feed ourselves, we should have the necessary rules to bring these items to Monrovia, because products from the farm in Lofa, in Nimba, rural parts of those areas that do not have roads that connects to Monrovia would be something very bad for people who produce them. Cannot bring it to Monrovia to be able to sell them as well. So I think it was basically about telling these member organizations that these members of the organization that Liberia is focused on constructing more roads and constructing more roads and roads. Yeah.
Just something that I caught from you is that, you know, if we are going to, in Liberia, if we're going to start hosting international conferences, the 35 countries that are members of AMFER actually do speak English, Portuguese, French, and I think and Spanish or something like that.
Yeah,
So
Spanish.
when you are running these organizations, you have to put it to your budget or your proposal that you need interpreters, and the hall that was being used, I think they should have connections there for interpretation, because even when President Gafford, oh my God, why am I calling him President? When Mr. Gafford was speaking English, those who do not understand English, those who only speak French or they should be able to understand it in French, you know. And in the past, it's not that we are going to be that there's a particular machine that is going to be translating. They do technologically, but for our country as it is, they could hire few people who do the interpretation, that when a man speaks his French, another person will speak it in their language, and those who are connected to that line, that's how they understand it, you know. Because we know that the representative from Cote d'Ivoire wouldn't understand English. So he will be, all those who speak French, their lines will be connected to a single interpreter, and that interpreter will be the one interpreting everything they say, you know. So I think there should just be things improved. I've not entered the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf Conference Center. I've not entered a conference room to watch what happens there or to see what they have available.
They don't even have it there. They don't have it.
So they should have interpretation gadgets there. In addition to that, I saw in the agenda that they said they were going to, the participants will take part in a guided professional and cultural tour of Monrovia, exploring key infrastructure sites and experiencing the rich cultural heritage of Liberia. But that's the language of Josita Nive. If you were the one, where will you take your guests in Liberia for them to see for tour, a guided tour of tourists? Where you take them?
I don't. Maybe so far, someone could see the Providence Island, and yeah, the Providence Island could be a historic site for someone to see so far, and yeah, for me.
Well, sometimes it's about explaining to the people why we think that site is relevant. You know, a hammock will be brought into the city. You really don't need it because you only see it hanging. You really don't know the reason. But if you take it to the village, so if somebody comes to the village, you have to explain that hammock is not only hanging in that kitchen for you to lie down in and be swinging up and down. You have to give the story that way back we did not have vehicles. So when the king is moving from one town to another town, we put him in this hammock and lay him over and tote him from one town to another town. When one group tire, another group take over. There's that significance that some people want to hear so that they can compare it to what is happening. Because each of those people that came, they have some culture. It's not just a matter of if they go to see, when the guys come, Simeon say we want to turn our place to a hotel. When the guys come, they look at the executive mansion. Most of them come from places where the executive mansion or the seat of the presidency is not as exquisite as that one they look at. If you go to the State House in Freetown, it's not as beautiful as our executive mansion. To the one in Conakry, it's not as beautiful as the one. If you want to go to the one in Batos, Gambia, it is not as beautiful as we have. Then he wants us to change it into a hotel where every Tom, Dick, and Harry will go there, you know. So we just believe, let us start building things, and let us not just continue to talk on things that we really cannot help our people with, you know. But this meeting today is very essential because it helps our road fund group to to identify resources on improving the work that they do. Because in there, they were going to have a break sessions, and in these break sessions, they will share among themselves how they do things in their country. Sometimes you would love to do it a way, or you've been doing it your own way. But if they tell you what has made them successful, then you will continue to work the way they become successful. Okay? They are saying that there is no sound. Are you sure?
I want to check it out.
Okay. So the road fund, the group that is they are working this meeting today. Some people who may not like the government or who do not want to see things going forward in Liberia, they will say it was a waste of money. But it was never a waste of money. It was actually working, and it's going to help our people to identify resources as to how to move forward and to make the office better. We know there will be challenges of climate, and there will be challenges of sustainability. There will be challenges of our anticipation and adapting to new things that will come. Okay, because some of the challenges, if you go to Liberia now, let's just imagine when they started talking about the overhead bridge, some people started looking at it as something that they think we cannot afford, that is something that cannot be afforded in Liberia, the road fund, the overhead bridge. But later on, I saw some people say, okay, well, if it was not in Liberia before, if it comes now, let's welcome it. We are 179, we are 150 years old. We're just doing overhead bridge. Yes, we are just identifying that as something that can help in our transport and road system. It's not something that we are doing a beauty pageant that wants people to know that we got very beautiful roads and we got very beautiful things. It has the need. It helps to decongest traffic. You cannot put it on certain roads because there's no way you can expand the roads, you know. And when they're building these bridges, the overhead bridge, it has its own thing. Now, in future, when they start talking about toll roads are very necessary. Okay, it helps people. It helps them to collect their money. Let's imagine if a toll boat is put to a place like maybe Pearl River. Okay, it's at a Pearl River. We do agree. If it's put there, you say, okay, you don't want to pay the $10 or the $5 that they are charging you to pay before you pass. Then you say, okay, let me use bypasses. Sometimes they will make the bypass can be far longer than the one that you don't want to go to pay $10 for, you know. And just a little joke for myself. I was coming from New York. You know, I didn't want to trying to come straight. Somebody called me, but you can come without paying the toll and this and that. No, I didn't have money. You know, they said there's a shorter road. Well, this shorter road is passing through Route 1. And passing through Route 1, they have communities, and each of the communities, they got a traffic light that you got to stop and waste your time. You're not paying money, but you got to go. You stop. You can't pass through the traffic light. And each of the communities, sometimes you can more than 50, 60 traffic lights that you got to pass through. But if you come here on the 95, you pass by one, you keep driving. You're not going to see no traffic light until you get to the end of your road. So it's advantageous that we agree because the toll roads are going to be the roads that will be the shorter road for us. They'll be the shorter roads. And let's imagine also for tourism's sake, our country will become competitive. Somebody can come and see it and say, we got this in our country, you know, and sometimes give us some more idea as to how to use it. So road connectivity, road establishment is very important to the country, you know. So these kind of meetings provide a space for the members to actually come to deliberate. They talk about what are the goals that the funding is doing for them. What are the challenges and how can they improve on it? That's all they came. They're going to spend 5 hours. Somebody who do not like them and know the idea they came for, oh, they're coming to sleep in big hotels and this and this and that, you know. Yes, we do say this. But we understand these people are coming from countries maybe where there have not been war. That when they just say coming to Liberia, they are already afraid. Okay, they are coming to Ellen Johnson Selig Ministerial Complex hall. That particular hall was not built for those kind of conferences. We had a conference center before, we broke it down. So that kind of place is not one. So when the people come in there, you expect them, they come in there, they're going to sit down in a cool place. Sometimes air conditioning, yes. So as a matter of fact, you have to go to very good hotels. I see most of the hotels are $200, $250 per night. You know, they give it to you to sleep in. You know, those are the enjoyments that you have or the things you enjoy. You know, some people say, oh, the other day, which of the minister? Oh, that some agency head said he went somewhere and they gave him money, he didn't spend it, he came by and returned it to government. That was very good for him. I gave him kudos, you know. But let's imagine I ran the refugee resettlement program for the Archdiocese of Philadelphia. Almost every half year, all the resettlement agencies meet together. When it is not, we do have meetings virtually, but when that time comes, we travel to one state and we all go there. We live in the hotels. Sometimes some of the hotels are $250 per night, you know, $250 per night. You're spending 3 nights there. You enjoy yourself. You listen to good. Because when your mind is settled, you understand things better. You know, I can't go to that place. You carry me to where they are going to have bed bugs. No, I should sleep in a comfortable place because that is a conference we have gone for to make a decision on the refugee resettlement program of the United States of America. It's what we go for. Some of the places we identify that we are going there to help people. And it's not only going to sit down to talk, but we also identify projects. Sometimes we during the meeting or at the certain portion of the meeting, we go to less impoverished communities, you know, less opportune communities to provide services for them. We'll talk about refugee integration into the society. Refugees come. They're not only supposed to be in the West Point area. We want to make the refugees feel good to live on Broad Street, to feel good to live in Cinco. You know, not because they are refugees, so therefore we don't give them something. They have the right to live. It is something that made them move from their country to run. Whether in their country they will not enjoy anything, they come, you have to help. Because the Geneva Convention says that you should help these people. They are running away from something, you should help them to resettle. And we did this, you know. So let's look at this road fund. I still want to say that I give them credit. I really want to congratulate the 35 member countries or the 34 member countries that came to Liberia, and I wish them well. I hope the meeting will last, to the time, and I hope they will come out with very good communique, that they will be able to help their various countries. They will be able to help one another in technology. Tell you, well, you don't have to build this bridge, let's build it. I know Ministry of Public Works was part of that meeting. You know, they could have gone there because they're talking about roads. So they needed to be there, you know. So I think we want to say thank you for all of them who went to that meeting. And I know the meeting was well. Do we have any other thing that happened we can talk about?
Basically, besides everything, also we saw CMC political leader taking a hand from the entire bridge project. The man said the government, public work, you know, saying you should use 1.3 million, and it let the Arab money not reach that size. So the man, no.
You know, I like him. You know, he quick to throw in the gauntlet. He quick to give up. You know, one thing he likes to say: the law is the law. So it looks like he forgot that the law is the law and wanted to do a jungle justice business. He can't. I will get my house. You can't. You look at my children, you say they're hungry. Then you go, you bring food for them. the answer is say you're not eating enough food. Because I am telling you, say, I don't feed my children. Government is responsible for these things. Before you decide to do the work that government is supposed to do, you must discuss it with a appropriate government entity. And that was what the Minister of Public Works told him. I think the Minister of Public Works was at the Capitol building today. And he told them, we're not stopping him. But he needed to do certain things. He did not do it. Now, when they are put all the in front of him, he found out that he ain't able to do it. You know? So when you go, you bring rice to my home. You say you brought it for my children. All I'm going to do, I tell you, yes, I agree you brought rice, but my children don't eat rice. Okay? Go and bring hamburger. Go bring this. Go bring this. Go bring this. When you find out the thing I told you to bring for my children is more expensive than the one you brought. It was not just a matter of satisfying your desire or satisfying the urge for having a road connecting two communities. It's not all about that, but it should be sustainable. Okay, the government has a budget already set, and that is one of the priority areas of development that government has. So why do you want to jump inside? You have to go to the Minister of Public Works. I understand him. I like him. He says the law is the law. So when the law decided to clamp on him, he gave up straight. He said, okay, I move my hand for inside. Y'all do your thing. So the other day, I was just coming out. Let me just come on with something. I think I was on social media. I asked, I said, well, why Musa Belete and how to call the guy, Koluba? Why Musa Belete and Koluba? The development that in there, Yeke Koluba, the development that in their districts, that they need to do. They're not seeing it. They're living from there, going way to other people's places to go see whether they are washing their dishes in the street. Musa Belete, you live from Nima County. You can't wait Bon County. And the bridge you're building is not a bridge that passing through Bon County. It's a bridge that connecting communities that are far from the road that you're supposed to use to go to Nima. You know, Nima County, they still got places there that you need to use that you can build that bridge there. You know, you didn't do it there. The same way, I saw Koluba somewhere way in the Belefasa forest. He looking at road. Look at all the digging deep. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. You get Koluba. The road from ACS to go to Gate Town, we still have one stick laying down there. That's your district. That's the heart of your district. You know, that we're supposed to use that road there. That people who coming from Tartan, they want to go to Gate Town. They don't have to come to Juba and take motorbike. They can take the shortcut passing by ACS building and go down. And when they reach to that swamp, they're able to walk on the bridge. And if possible, you can put something there that motorbikes can even use, you know, to cross. But you still got the people in the community putting one stick so, and they be jumping. When you make mistake, you fall down in the water. You know, you can see that. You know, let's imagine from Gate Town coming towards Chubo. That's your community. I'm just saying this. I'm from district number 10 as well. So I'm telling you, Mr. Koluba, those are areas that you're supposed to be paying attention to. You know, supposed to be paying attention to those things. That you pass by those places every day. You know, being with the people is making sure that the little things that you're supposed to do, you should do it. Don't just be going just because you want to criticize the government or you just want to talk because you have a mouth. What are you doing in Belefasama Forest? What are you doing there? You want to go to Beleyala? Then the car you carry just to shut your mouth and tell your car around and come out. Then you're there telling people, oh, look at the road. They have not done this road. They have not done this road. This is your second term in the House of Representatives. Tell us what you have done on the old road. Go to Kehoe. Kehoe, you're not doing nothing there. That's right around your community. Okay? The road passing by your father's house. Okay? Old man by the late John Jala house, passing all the way to go to Desert Lane, okay? To the sandy place there. You didn't make anything there. People still got to be jumping over the water. They still got to be laying one thing there. All you needed to do is mobilize the community to see what they can do for themselves. You cannot just go and be talking just because you got mouth to talk, Mr. Koluba. Or you are looking for a way to be insulting people. That's not fair. You will not feel good if little kids start insulting you. because you are a father. Just because you don't want people to insult you for your children to hear it, you take your family, you carry them to Ghana. Because your children are supposed to be in Liberia, so when you curse other people, that they will be cursing too. Because when they curse you in front of your children, then you feel it. Because you, as a representative running your second 5-year term, you are becoming a nuisance. You are becoming a nuisance. Development don't come overnight. And development sometimes comes with pain. We spend the whole year. There are other areas of priority. We are not saying everywhere cannot be prioritized. They are all prioritized. But it's one thing at a time. If the funding is viewed here, we give it to this other group, they do it. The funding is available, they do it. But I am just saying, Mr. Calabar, in district number 10, there are a lot of problems that are there. I know you are going to say, they're building the overhead bridge in my district. Yeah, but that doesn't cover up what you're supposed to do for your people. Just a simple thing you can do, Mr. Calabar, with the overwhelming way that people elected you. You're supposed to start knowing how to mobilize the people. Get community support. Not only community support for people to come use violence to fight for you or to kind of be insulting other people. Not that. Tomorrow you come for me, I'll come back for you. I'll tell you that we all grew on the old road.
The mayor is more focused on his presidential campaign for 2029 because he said he wants to contest as president. So I think he's more focused with the Liberian people. And again, when you go for Honorable Yeke Calabar press conference and ask him about development in the district, he tells you that it's government responsibility to build bridge, especially when it comes to the situation in Kiho and other areas you talk about. He always tells you that it's the government responsibility to build bridge, and he's doing his job, which is his 3 cardinal responsibility: oversight and lawmaking, and one more other thing. I guess he's always saying he's doing that.
Representation.
Yeah, and representation. He's always saying that he's doing that because he's talking every time about what the government is doing. He's making sure that government feed is to the fire to work, and he left with the government to build road or bridge in district number 10. Whether they do or not, they left with them.
That is where it comes from. Many of them do not even know how they are in her house. I'm sorry, guys, if you guys are listening. Many of them do not even know how to approach issues in that place. Mr. Calabar, they roll between, how do you call the place? The simple ones that I showed you behind ACS, joining Gay Town, passing by Christ the King Church there. It's a very simple way. Calabar, go to the house. Tell the people, not the population that is moving between that group. 10,000 people, 5,000 people move daily on that road, and try to establish the difficulties that people face. And if the government decides to build a bridge there, how much government is going to get, not in terms of money, but in terms of intangible satisfaction of the people. How it's going to make traffic eased for the people. That if I'm living from Cabra Estate, I want to go to Gaytown, I don't have to go to, how to call the place, Joba, and walk all the way, or sometimes want to use the shortcut to pass through Makriti Yard to go to Cooper Baba Shop and all these things to come in. You tell government what has created the problem and what government can do, and if government does that, how it is going to ease some situation for the people. That's what many of the representatives in that house do not know, because when they go to the house, they bring in their brothers, their sisters, and their party campaign people to be their office staff and other things. And this office staff supposed to be the people to be helping you to identify some of the things you can do. They're supposed to be helping you. Come here, go to the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. When you see some state representatives there, or some representatives, you see a guy who is maybe majoring in policy and planning somewhere way in Washington. We ask to come to Washington D.C. so that they can just be an office mate. They volunteer in the office. When session is on, by the time session is on, each of them sitting down close to their representative. By the time an issue comes on the floor, that child will go on their phone. Some of them will go quick. They do the research, or on a laptop, quick. They put it in front of the representative. The representative reads it, and he has idea on what is going on. But here, the people go to they go in a House of Representatives or in a Senate. Their office staff, they do not even have research people in their office staff among the number of people that they're supposed to employ. They do not have research people there. And these people are supposed to be there. Or even when you go in the house, you go to a session, they're supposed to be by you. They tell you what you're supposed to do because it's their business to help you to run the government. It's not that you know everything. Don't go in the house and Allah, you know everything. The only thing you must know is how to make the money. That the budget can't, the budget too much. Oh, why you put $2,000 in one? You'll go put $10,000 for these people. So Mr. Calabar, your representation you're doing must not only be to be criticizing, but you should be suggesting. You should be making recommendations. When they say that you are also making law, Mr. Calabar, you are not a backbencher. You are coming from one of the populated districts in Montserrat County. You are not a backbencher. Let your hand speak for you. Not to say I concur. While representatives say I agree with him, the person say no. You should be able to come out with a counter argument, and the counter argument in a respectful way, not insulting people. We know you like to speak your strict English because the English you can speak there. The other day I was listening to it. I was doing it on my team to transcribe. Said they couldn't transcribe. The transcription couldn't go on. Because the English we were speaking was different. It was almost maybe partway Pere, partway Loma. So Mr. Calabar, I beg you, you have a big responsibility. Help your people. Identify projects. Go there Saturday morning, Sunday morning, organize a meeting. Tell the people we want to work on this. Let all the young men then come out. You provide the resources and the people will be there to work to make sure that they make a bridge over there. If even that drums they're going to put there, and make a bridge, a quick bridge. When government sees it, they will know that there's a need to improve on that bridge, and they will do it. So my final closing is that the Road Fund project and this meeting of the African Road Maintenance Fund Association must be accepted and welcomed in Liberia because it's going to help our road fund that we have here. So this road fund money that is going to come, it helps us to identify projects. Then if we have the government identifies a project that needs a road fund people must remain in this organization to go to their colleagues so that they can help them and tell them how we can improve on our roads. We have $10,000, but this is a road that costs $20,000. Can you guys help us identify where we can get the resources of the extra $10,000 so we can implement this project? Because the whole thing is intended for interconnectivity, intercountry connectivity of roads. And thus, as you do, when the road is passing through your country, you must make sure the roads are of standard and safe. That's all about it. Mr. Simeon Freeman, I beg you, please, the law is a law. The government was established by law. All those agencies that you are talking about, they were established by act of law. So just leave them alone. If you got other things, let's talk about it. You're not going to have the chance to become president, but you will continue to be the same man who will be talking and talking and talking. Okay? GSTV, we need to review your concession agreement because you are exploiting the Liberian people. You're exploiting. You're setting a tariff that is actually not even workable in other countries. I guess you should understand now that even the GSTV that you're giving to people, because it's too expensive in Liberia, I will send my money to somebody in Nigeria and let them pay there and subscribe. Because once I got my code, it works for me in Liberia. So if you think you're making money, you do not know the business strategy. You know, that is what many Liberians are doing. They send their money to Nigeria or they send it to Ghana. And when they send the money there, they tell the people, because if you're charging me $25 for a 1 month subscription, they say $25, I send it to, or sometimes I send $15 and I'll get the same service in Liberia. But the registration and subscription is done in Nigeria, but my code remains the same. So you see, you have done the technology, you're not even checking what is going to happen. So I still believe that Mr. Simeon Freeman, you feel that you have a great intention for Liberia, but the people don't see you like that. You are a braggart. You boast. You know, but you are also an exploiter. You brought DSTV and made out to be paying all the plenty of money. Then today you make yourself look like you rich man. Executive mansion must be made into a 5-star hotel. I wonder you're really talking with sense. That's too good for the president of the Republic of Liberia. But Simeon Freeman, who is a businessman, must live in a 3-story building in the heart of the city or in one place looking like a mansion. Why can't you go build a house in West Point? You want our president to go work at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that is already not sufficient. Well, I just want to say thank you to all our viewers tonight. You can do your closing, but I still feel that, it was a great show tonight. We didn't have anybody. We still want to say thank you to Thomas Kena. I think he's watching from London. We want to say thank you to Jilipe Wala, Siahana Solotengbe, also from Monrovia. Jami Nushsa, we say good work and thank you. LeBron, I haven't talked to you for a while, so I hope you had a very good evening. And this is the round table. We'll be coming back to you on Thursday with some training events. We only look at issues that are trending. We don't deviate from it. We look at what other people say and we give our views on it. These are our personal views, and we thank you so much for listening tonight.
Thank you so much, Mr. Abu, and it has been a very great show tonight. Until we come back Thursday, we'll be here to talk more about our country, Liberia, and issues that matter the most to our sweet land of liberty. Until Thursday next week, beginning at 10 p.m. Liberia time, or better still, 5 p.m. the U.S. time, we'll be on here to talk more about issues relating to our country and the well-being of Liberia. Thank you for following us and have a great, great night.